Our modern world is in many ways a continuation of the world of Greece and Rome. Other influences joined to make us what we are, but the Greco-Roman element is one of the strongest and the richest. Without it, our civilization would not merely be different, but less worthy to be called a civilization, because its spiritual achievements would be less great. The greater part of our knowledge and beliefs has been communicated to us by other people through the medium of a language which others have created. Without language, our mental capacities would be poor indeed, comparable to those of the higher animals. We have, therefore, to admit that we owe our principal advantage over the beasts to the fact of living in human society. Habits are both useful and necessary. Life, with its many demands upon our time and attention, would be painfully difficult were it not for the habits which release us from the mental and emotional strain of making and carrying out decisions. It is not well for anyone to be serious all the time. For one who is so, the strain of life is often too hard. President Lincoln was very fond of a funny story. He felt the strain and the burden of the war so strongly that if it had not been for this relief, he would have broken down long before the war was over. We can be but partially acquainted even with events which actually influence our course through life and our final destiny. There are other events, if such they may be called, which come close upon us, yet pass away without actual results, or even betraying their near approach by the reflection of any light or shadow across our minds. Could we know all the vicissitudes of our fortunes, life would be too full of hope and fear to afford us a single hour of true serenity. The laws of any civilized country are so numerous and so complicated that no one man can ever be fully acquainted with all of them. Every man, however, is supposed to know the law, and if he breaks it, he cannot be free from punishment by saying that he was ignorant. This, of course, is mere common sense, since the whole system of government would break down could a man escape the consequences of his wrongful act by asserting that he did not know that he was breaking the law. Poetry moves us to sympathy with the emotions of the poet himself or with those of the persons whom his imagination has created. We witness their struggles, triumphs, and failures. We feel their loves and hates, their joys and sorrows, hopes and fears, somewhat as if these were our own. And still, while we suffer with their anxieties and sorrows, we get a pleasure out of the experience. I wish I could impress upon your minds the immense importance of improving your opportunities and the bitterness of the unavailing regret with which you will look back on the neglect of them, or convey to you some adequate idea of the price at which such opportunities would be purchased by some of us for whom they are long since past and over. Memory training courses are much in vogue nowadays, and it seems to be taken for granted that the more things we remember, the happier we are. The pleasures of memory must certainly be rated high, but I am sure forgetfulness also plays a part in making human beings happy. Macbeth and Lady Macbeth would have given a good deal to be able to forget the murder of Duncan, and many a politician has longed to be allowed to forget his election pledges. Aristotle could have avoided the mistake of thinking that women have fewer teeth than men by the simple device of asking Mrs. Aristotle to keep her mouth open while he counted. He did not do so because he thought he knew. Thinking that you know when in fact you don't is a fatal mistake to which we are all prone.